She's here. Melanie, you okay?
Look at her.
She's here. Looking badass.
Yeah, I
But
literally became speechless.
yeah,
I wasn't ready. Do you know why?
thought you glitched out for a second.
Yeah, I literally glitched out because I had a complete different conversation in my head because
Oh,
I was just I'll tell you later.
you were probably Googling something inappropriate, and here I was coming with the goods.
Yeah, it finally came.
Yes.
The parcel that I
Finally.
sent like 2 months ago.
It's been to hell and
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. So listeners, I
She has
sent
been.
Angela a parcel like ages ago and somehow it wound up in New Zealand. And luckily, I was stalking it. If I wasn't stalking it and ringing and all that, I think it would still be sat on a pile in New Zealand somewhere. So,
Yeah.
and it wasn't me. I thought maybe I fucked up, but no, when I actually rang Ozpost, they were like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry." And I was like, "Damn straight." I was like, but it took so long. And I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous because even once it finally updated that it was on the move, like a month or so later, it landed at something ICS or something, LA. I was like, what's that? And I looked it up, and apparently it's like the worst place your mail can go. Like it can be stuck there for like another month or more.
Wow. Oh, so like customs or whatever,
It's yeah, but
whatever
it's
it's
something
called.
else. It's a different department that's like renowned for being a black hole where parcels go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, lucky for me, the male gods were on my side because I have a copy. Oh my gosh. Gregory and the Grimbuckle. Melanie Schubert. I don't know if I knew this or not, but it has illustrations in it and they're
Yeah.
so freaking cute.
She's talented. She is really talented.
Yeah, I was so flabbergasted. Um,
Did you
yes.
find my graffiti? I've
Yeah.
left you notes at the front and back.
Yes, you left like a whole bunch of random. You're like, also, I see this pen was a fucking choice. Oh well.
Well, because I started writing with it and I was like, well, fuck, it's way thicker than I thought.
Look at baby Melanie. Look at her. Sweet angel baby Melanie. This is the best. I honestly, it's so freaking cute.
Thank you. I still love it. I mean, I don't, it's been a while since I read it, so don't judge me too harshly if it reads terribly. Not that you need to read it. I honestly just sent it because the other day when you were like, oh, I should try track it down. And I realized I had one spare and I was like, it should go to you for your Schubert collection.
I am so happy you did because it is special. Actually, it's interesting because that you mentioned like not reading it again because
Yeah.
I just as I was waiting between, when we recorded to right now, I
Yeah.
popped into a live that Kyla Zhao's on
Oh, yeah.
with Ali Hazelwood. And so I was just popping on, just listening to her live, and they
Mm,
were talking about like, what's your favorite book? And Kyla was like, oh, I honestly can't imagine rereading my old books,
mm,
because I'm like a different person since then.
that's it.
And you know what I mean? Like it's good, like people will find it and they'll love it, but me as the author, like I've changed and I've grown.
100%.
I was like, oh, that's good.
And all the revisions you did on it, like you probably read it enough, you know?
Yeah, you're like, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, it's not as surprising. But also, I also got another get and some yummy chips. Or uh what do you guys
Were they
call
all right after a month abroad? Were they,
them? I was cracking up because they're like little tiny little
are they
chips.
squished?
Yes.
Did
But they
the
still
air,
taste good.
did they?
Yeah,
Ooh.
but they're little. They're little. Like we're gonna use a spoon. We're gonna just
Oh, they got
not that bad.
pasteurized on
Not
the way.
Yeah, they did. Somebody was chucking that bag probably in once they got to LA.
Well, maybe it's lucky they were in there, huh? It
Yeah,
probably buffered whatever hit, whatever would have crushed it. Yeah.
my box.
Your
The box,
box.
I also got this box. This is really cool
Thank
too.
you.
like just the box alone. But
It was kind
now,
of a re-gift because the
well, you
box,
didn't have to tell
because
me that.
I got a ring in it. Well, it was a very special ring. It's the one that's got
Oh,
like a little universe in it. And I was like, it was hard to part with, but I was like, you know what? You can have the box. You deserve the box.
oh, I appreciate that. Because then I also got this beautiful bracelet from Melanie. I just got hooked up. So now we can be a world apart and we can still be matching
We're
stuff
matching. My friend
and
Henry made these and
it
they're
smells
so cool.
good.
Yeah, that's his. He makes that perfume as well. So I put a bit of it on it. It's like all natural essential oils. Yeah, look at us matching.
Look at us. Yeah, so thank you. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love.
Yay.
Little badass.
You're all
So thank you,
Schubert decked
Melanie.
out. I'm so
I
glad it got
am.
to you. I was literally like, if it goes missing, I can never replace that bracelet because I don't even know
Right,
if we could find the same exact stones. And it's got this
right.
little silver bead on it. And then the book, I was like, there's really limited copies out there. I was like, if these things go missing, I'm going to be so pissed off. So,
As I know. I would be pissed off too, honestly.
but welcome to the show.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. Officially. Yeah. No, yeah.
No,
I don't
no,
even know
say it. I can
where to
still cut
begin.
it out. What were
No,
you
I was just gonna
saying?
say like it's I posted something about like all these secrets that you learn about the publishing industry and about authors or
Mm,
influence or whatever it is. Like you learn so much,
yeah.
but yet because you're also so interlinked with so many people,
Mm,
to spill the tea that you've learned is also
yeah.
like you can't because you're so mixed up with people. Actually I posted about this on TikTok because it's like there's so much, but like there's so much tea I want to air out. Like the things that like have happened to me or to our friends
Yeah.
or whatever. Like you want to just be like, I just want to tell people what happened.
What
But
what
then
would stop you
also,
from sharing some of yours? Just like the fear of like how those people would perceive it or something?
well, I feel like with one thing in particular, which is which whatever, I've moved on,
Mm.
kind of, but like I'm still linked with this entity,
Oh yeah.
this thing. And so like if I were to spill the tea, it would also affect what I'm doing with this
Gotcha.
thing, even though like I kind of feel shitty too, because I'm like still like working with this thing, but
Yeah, I
also
fucking hate that.
like it's also really exciting, so I want to continue working with it, and but
Mm.
I also hate it. So it's like publishing is like a weird beast because you, I don't know, like it's like you're sleeping with the enemy sometimes.
Yeah, but I was
I
just
don't know,
thinking
like
because I know Katya
no,
was
go ahead.
telling me about publishing rodeo, and she was saying they literally their whole show is based around that they both got pubbed with the same publisher and one got all this shit and one got nothing and they just like
Yeah,
compare. So I'm like, if they're managing to do that and not to ever put any pressure on you, you should only share what you feel comfortable. And I think 100% keep your career safe first and foremost with whatever it is.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I was just curious, personally
yeah.
curious.
I love publishing rodeo because it is very, it shows like it brings
Mm,
transparency into this publishing world that is so like murky and gray and
mm,
confusing. And I've talked about this on the show like a long time ago. I had to stop listening to it because it got me so depressed
yeah.
because it was right. Oh, this was a while ago because it was right after I learned I wasn't getting arcs for Sinner's Isle,
Yeah.
I think. And like one of their whole things on publishing rodeo where they're talking about like if you don't get physical arcs, like you're doomed. Your book is done. Kind
Mm,
of a thing. And I was like, ah, shit. And so like for my own sort of mental well-being, I was like, ah, I
mm.
can't, I have to be hopeful, even though they're telling me basically the facts, which is the truth. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, publishing is this weird hellscape. So next week, I'm doing Okay, so with Penguin Random House, they
Mm.
offer this thing for their authors, which is pretty cool. It's called I'm pretty sure it's called Author University.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe every couple of months they put on these online panels and
Mm.
workshops. And sometimes they're just simple things like how to use Canva,
Yeah, yeah.
like marketing. And I was asked to, or I am going to do a panel next week,
Oh.
and which is amazing. What an honor to be like seen from the higher ups somehow. And so the panel is about how to continue, um, how to continue after debut day, like how
Mm.
to keep going or like grow. I can't remember the wording, but like how to, yeah, like how to boost, no, not boost.
Keep
What's the other word?
momentum maybe
That's the
after.
word, momentum. Momentum is the
Yeah.
word. How to build momentum even after you
After.
debut.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's such a weird feeling because this whole year I have been struggling
Mm.
after debut. And so them seeing only the good things and
Mm.
like the big things, the moments, and apparently I don't know what I've been doing, but whatever it is, it's caught their attention.
Oh, you've
Um,
been working like a boss.
I've been out here working and it's showing, which is amazing, but I also feel like at what
Mm.
cost throughout the year because I was still working so hard that
Yeah.
I was causing myself to be like in a
Yeah.
depression. And so to be on this panel feels very
Bittersweet.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet because like how do I don't even know what the questions are going to ask, but like how do I talk about something
Gotcha.
that I struggled through? Like, how do I give advice to authors when it's like, oh, I just barely survived this year. I don't know, guys. Like, what am I
Mm.
supposed to say? Um, yeah. So again, like I keep saying, publishing is weird because you are struggling, you're doing all these things behind the scenes, and people and publishers are seeing other things. And
Mm.
so it's like, how do you be honest while also wanting them to continue to see these things? Um, so yeah, I don't know where I'm heading with this, but I
No.
feel like just in this last literally like month or two, I feel like this release of just like,
Yeah.
fuck it. I've done the things where obviously people are seeing whatever I've been doing. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's translating in sales. I don't know why they asked me to do this.
Mm.
Um, but whatever it is, I think it's like I forgot to have fun for a good long while, and I'm finally getting back. Um,
Mm. And that is why you're the perfect person to talk about it on that panel. And they might not even realize that. In fact, maybe they are expecting, because we were just talking about this with Shifa, like about how you, like a lot of times we're working actually beyond 110% to try get in and to like, and actually we reach a point of some kind of burnout, right? And which is what you've
yeah.
kind of experienced. And yeah, so if that's what's attracted them, that's probably why you're feeling the panic. Like, oh, I can't replicate that anymore because I've already decided that doesn't serve me. Whether or not they're aware of your own personal journey, I think doesn't matter because ultimately, at least in my opinion, you're the perfect person for that panel because you've actually worked through that and you're actually going to have helpful advice because you're going to think about it not just from the how can I juice every piece of my atom to sell books? You're like, well, books are one thing, but my mental health and physical health is is primary because I can't do this stuff without it. And I think that this is actually part of where, at least from what I'm seeing, that publishing needs to take a good hard look at like how they're treating authors and what they're expecting of authors and um, yeah, I think that like you
Mm,
may very well be a part of that conversation on that panel. And don't be afraid to speak your truth because, yeah, it will burn some people, but other people, it's gonna be like water on the desert, to hear your
yeah.
journey. So,
Oh, that's good advice, honestly, because truly I wouldn't want to be out there like being all fake
mm,
and be like, "Oh, it's just been great. It's been so fun.
nah,
Guys,
fuck
keep
that.
burning yourself out." Like
Yeah. That's
Keep going, keep going. I would never, because truly it's not fair to the author.
no.
And publishing really and truly puts so much pressure on us now to
Yeah.
be out and to be doing all these things. And I did all the things, and I was out and I was doing things, but at what cost?
Mm.
Um, I was just exhaustion, and just kind of like, burning the candle at both ends, sort
Yes.
of a thing. But truly, it's publishing really does almost require us, because like, I think when we first started this podcast,
Mm.
I would even be like, you don't need to be on social media, you don't have to do these things, but I don't know if that really works anymore, because of what
Mhm.
publishing is requiring and expecting of their authors, and that's not fair. They're asking us to do so much,
Yeah.
and to promote after we've done already so much in writing and editing and all of the things, but then they're asking more.
Yeah.
And like, I've had this conversation with my agent, where she's even kind of just told me, we're like, across the board, we're
Yeah.
not seeing publicity like we used to. We're
Mm.
not seeing the energy like we used to. What do you want to do about it? Kind of a conversation that we had.
Mm.
And my agent was like, I've seen authors who have paid for their own marketing, and that
Shit.
can be upwards of like 15 grand.
Damn.
And yeah, right. And I was like, well, well, back to
Damn.
Instagram I go. But like, I just was like, she was just right. I'm like, shit, never mind.
You got a snort out of me.
I was like, fuck it. I guess I'm starting TikTok then.
It's time
Because
to get
it's
your
that's
feet out.
right. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, get the feet out. I'm gonna start an OnlyFans with the little toes. Ugh, to pay for my marketing campaign,
Mm.
really? Um,
Mhm.
fuck. But she was just saying, like, that's what so many, you'd be surprised how many authors are having to pay for their own shit.
Mm,
And
sadly,
and it
I'm
was like
not
a
surprised.
right?
Mm,
It was like a ice cold bath thrown in my
mm.
face when we had this conversation. Um, I'm not doing that, because I don't want to spend that money.
Yeah, you want to earn money. This is a
Yeah. What the
yeah.
hell?
It's so like it's almost like because there's this like crossover between like a yearning to do something creative as a career for for those of us who chase it. It's really easy to take advantage of that, I guess, because yeah, like
Yes.
we're constantly like, like, I started from nothing and I had to teach myself. And so you're constantly kind of trying to prove yourself why you should get to be here or something. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there is the business side to publishing, which I guess can very easily take advantage of that because as a business, they're always going to look for ways to cut costs. Why the fuck would they put 15 grand of their money into promoing when the author can do it? It's just an easy, if they're in their little meeting room and they're like, no, where can we cut costs? You can guarantee someone was like, well, no, we don't need to spend it on that because the author can do it on their Instagram. Let's
Right?
cut costs there. Maybe you
Yeah.
should sell your yacht.
Damn it. Damn it. Capitalism. Capitalism.
Fucking capitalism.
Always.
It ruins
Yes.
everything.
Oh, it does. And it's true. It's like this idea of the starving artist. It's like,
Yeah.
well, we should suffer because this is a passion thing.
Yeah.
But it's not fair, because
Mm.
why put on the publishing side, and I'm sure so many people have thought the same thing. It's like, why pay an author? Why go through the effort and time and work of
Yeah.
producing this book, only to let it just slip away into the wilds, and only what the author and a few influencers out here to
Mm.
help? So I just I I feel lucky in so many ways because
Yeah.
truly my like publishing journey has been amazing. My publishing house is amazing. Like Joy Revolution's awesome. I do have a publicist through Penguin Random House. I know that they see me. I know that they're pitching me for things. I'm so lucky in so many ways.
Mm.
But even still, like we could still be pushing and doing more.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like that's why authors feel like they have to pick up the slack
Mm.
I also feel like on the lower level, like of my publishing house and my publicist, like they're already carrying the burden of so much other things, especially like Joy Revolution as a publishing house.
Mm.
They're out here doing the work of like trying to publish these books by people of color that
Yeah.
highlight people of color. So they're already carrying so much
Mm.
that the bigger conglomerate of the publishing house, doesn't care because they're just seeing
Mm.
the top, the bottom dollar.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
all the people I deal with directly are fabulous and they're already doing so much.
Yeah.
But because we're not getting like this bigger backing,
Gotcha.
because I'm just like a mid-list gal, I'm trying to like pick up the mantle and carry it the rest of the way. And that's like really hard as somebody who's just on social media, everyone,
Yeah.
like doing funny little things. I'm not out here like with the billion followers,
Yeah.
like, hey,
You
buy
didn't
this
do
book.
a marketing degree, right? Like
No,
we
yeah,
came
exactly.
into it because we're like, I like, I still think about this like every day that I'm like, shit, like I'm a hot mess a lot of days. Like it takes a lot to, like I have well managed shit, right? But like it's that thing of like if people see you and like they see you flourishing and whatever, it is scary to think that they're gonna like perceive that like they can just more, 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 more. But I think that comes down to like it has to stop with us. We have to set our boundaries. We have to do, and I do think that our generation is kind of like questioning it, you know. It's not perfect, but maybe the generations before us didn't even question it. They just got sucked into the machine of it all and they didn't have the option in their brain to question it, yeah? They just did
Mm,
these things because that's what was expected, that's what everyone did. But I guess like maybe we are at a point where like we have enough knowledge to question it, but things are still fucked. So that makes it really hard and uncomfortable to like
yeah,
live in that position. But I think
yeah,
the more we have these conversations, and like I said, I couldn't think of a better person for that panel. Just don't feel like you have to go in as like sparkling meme Montoya. You can go in just as
yes.
you, and that's enough. And that's always been enough, you know. So whatever you feel like you can bring in that moment, just do that,
That's
you
great
know.
advice. That's great advice, Melanie. Yeah,
Your great advice.
I
Well,
wasn't
before I
there? Okay,
forget,
yeah, I wanted to
hey,
hear you had something to talk about a peen.
I'll talk about that penis shortly. Before I
Okay.
forget, our dear friend Katya, author of this upcoming horror YA, They Watch From Below, um, she has most generously offered to give away 3 copies of this. She loves our podcast so much, and we love our friend Katya. I'm
Yes.
actually doing an event with her soon to help her launch this bad boy, so that's exciting. Oh shit balls. It's art falling out. So anyway, she wants to give away 3 copies. So I was just going to be the first 3 people to DM us, and it's open internationally. So signed and personalized, sent from the author. How generous. Yeah, I've realized not
Amazing.
a lot of people do that, eh? It's actually really generous when an author is willing to like send it out and sign and personalize it. So if you're a horror fan, and even if you're not, it's really, I'm reading it now, it's deliciously good. Like she manages to like, it's kind of Wednesday Adam vibes, but like make it
Ooh.
more horror. And then also weirdly is reminding me of Clara Sonko's book with like a bit of generational trauma vibes through it. It's
Mhm.
really a masterpiece. So first 3 people slide in our DMs and we will let God Katia know that you are a winner.
Yes. Yes. I'm excited. Please, please get on this. You don't want to miss out on this arc,
Yes,
baby.
my copy is a bit damaged because I was putting it in the fireplace to do a photo shoot the other
Oh
day,
my
but it was
gosh,
worth
your video you did,
it.
holy shit, that was art.
Thank
That was
you.
good.
I was
Yeah.
terrified myself making it, so I knew I'd hit the mark.
Y- y- That's when you know. When you scare yourself, you know you've done well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so good. We love Katya
We
and
love
love your
Katya.
support. Yeah, so you guys will be at is it a bookstore you'll be doing the book
Yeah, we're
signing?
gonna be at Dimmick's. Hang on, that's a good point. I should say where it's gonna be.
Yeah, because I know we have
Thank
some
you for
Aussie
reminding.
listeners.
Absolutely, we do. I think Belinda might be there.
Aw.
Now I've said that, and I'm like, is Belinda gonna be there? I don't
Belinda's
know. No
she's gonna
pressure.
be.
No pressure,
Bel-
Belinda.
Now
Um,
she has to go.
so yeah, it's our in conversation. I'm her in conversation person. God only knows why, but because I love her. So yeah, it's gonna be Thursday, 7th of November at 6 p.m. at Readings Kids. So
Look at you. She's out here. Melanie's out here working. She's out
listen,
here.
I'm bricking it, but I'll do it for Katya. It's good
Yeah.
practice. It does get easier the more you do that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we love our bookish fam, so but on to bigger and maybe better things. I've been dying to tell you this since I heard about it. So I hope you're ready. Like,
I already know I'm not ready. I
no, you're
already
not
know.
ready. I love my bizarre animal facts, right?
Yes.
And I was, as you would say, verklempt. Actually, I wasn't. I was like peeing myself laughing. You're obviously not watching RuPaul's Drag Race UK.
I have not. I have not.
Well, usually I'd be mad at that, but right now I'm delighted because I get to tell you the information I heard on that. And I Googled, so it's true. Because
Okay, good.
Google is like the truth bot, right?
Well, sure. Yes. Fact checked.
So
Fact checked.
I was watching Drag Race and one of the queens, they were like bonding. And somehow they got to talking about hyenas. In particular, I believe spotted hyenas. Um, Anyway, I think they were just saying something about how like we don't see something in nature, and then they're like, but actually, they're like the spotted hyena. You may not know this, but the females have essentially a pseudo penis.
Really?
Correct. That is almost indistinguishable from the male.
Wow. Go,
Yeah.
girl.
So the female hyenas are sporting handsome members, and they have to like open it
What?
to allow the male to mate with them.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
I was
Oh,
like, this can't be true. But then I Googled it, and sure enough, there she is sporting a handsome schlong, the female hyena.
sure, yes. And I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on she has to open it
She
part. She
has
has
to
to open.
open it to allow him to enter. Apparently, it's not a very efficient way to reproduce, but here they are, surviving time and extinction level events, and
Do we know why she has this peen?
it's just evolution. But even like
But
evolutionists
why in
agree it's
evolutionary
not.
world would we need this? Why do we need this? Oh, we know?
It's a good question.
Oh,
Maybe I'll research a bit more for next episode, but I have been dying to tell you because I know you're always shocked by animal facts, and you know how it pleases me to shock you
yeah.
with animal facts.
I think this one takes the cake.
It's amazingly wild.
I am going on to YouTube as soon as we get off of this. I am doing some research.
I guess she's just like, she's all out there living her alpha best life, you know?
Yeah, she's hey, the girl is just out here
she's having the best of both worlds,
She
you
is.
know?
I mean, hey, I don't blame her. Like, you know what? We got I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm just
It's so
mumbling over my
bizarre, but it's like what
I,
when I heard it, I was like, why do I not know this fact? This seems like something so out there that you would know about it straight away. You
like
know?
yeah, this feels like something you should know first before you know anything in the world. Like, let me tell you about a female hyena that's spotted. In particular, like we don't need to learn alphabet, nothing. Like I need to tell you guys all this fact, okay? So you're not walking around, just thinking the hyena doesn't have this. You've got to know
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
We'll have to
I'm
research
gonna,
more. But so
yeah,
there you
like I said,
go. There you go.
thank you.
You learn something every day. And
I
I felt
did.
like,
I
was
really
it the
did.
right episode to share it on? Probably not. You were getting all deep. Shifa was getting all deep. And all I had to contribute was hyena penises.
Especially the timing, because we have to do Shifa's bio right now.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. Do you have it in front of you?
I'll find it. Like we just had this profound podcast, and here comes Melanie. Like, let me just wreck everything and tell you about a female hyena's peen. Let me just okay, let me somehow I guys, I'm sorry, I have to do this bio right now. Get it out of your head, everybody. Like, wipe it clean. We'll get back to it next episode. Okay, let me see if I can. Shifa Saltagi. Let me try it again.
I'm not gonna look at you.
Oh God. Okay, don't look at me. Shifa Saltagi Safadi was born in Syria and immigrated to the US with her parents when she was a young girl. She is a bilingual Arabic/English speaker and is very familiar with the challenges of learning English and navigating two languages. Shifa is the author of National Book Award finalist KAREEM Between by Putnam Penguin Kids 2024. The AMINA Banana chapter books by Putnam, Penguin Kids as well, and picture book The Gift of EID by Holiday House in 2025, and more coming. She has previously 3 published picture books, Spell It Like Samar, Heaven at Mama's Feet, and Pepperoni Pitches and Other Problems, with Muslim publisher Ruqaya's Bookshelf.
Well
Yes.
done. And
Thank you.
she's amazing. And
Oh my
like
gosh.
my ridiculous animal facts aside, it was such an honor to have her on. And without further ado, here she is. I'm sorry.
Hello. Oh, we've got like straight hair today.
This is my natural hair.
Ah, it looks
I got tired of
great.
curling it. And you know what's wild? It's wild how like I'm reading Katya's book at the moment, and in it the girl is like she's got like very straight, very flat hair. And it's weird when you like read it, and I was like, why am I so thing about it? Just embrace your flat, straight hair some days, you know?
I
It took
know.
me like half an hour less time to get ready, you know?
That's pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. It looks really good.
Thank you. I think I
Welcome.
read somewhere that flat is in. Maybe that influenced me a little bit.
I think I believe it though. Like I see my like the teens, the cool
Yeah.
kids. They're just straight down the middle, flat.
I'm
And it
ready
looks
because it's hard to judge this thing. You see this how my natural is really, really flat.
yeah.
Anyway, our guest is here. Well, I whinge about my perfectly fine hair. I don't know why we all get these things in our heads, eh?
I know. I know.
All right, ready? I missed
Yeah.
you.
I know. It's been days,
Weeks.
weeks.
What is on your tree? Hello.
Hello. Hi. How are you? Let
Hi.
me fix my lights because they're
Yeah,
glowing.
no
Yeah.
stress. I was just trying to work out what's on Angela's tree. Are they fake autumn leaves?
Oh, right behind me? Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fake leaves on a fake palm tree. I don't know. Or
It
it's
was
not
a,
even a palm tree,
it
but
was a choice.
It's a
I love
choice.
plant aesthetic. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really, really do.
How
Well,
are you guys?
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're great. We're really excited to have you on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh,
Our
no, it's
pleasure.
absolute our pleasure as I try to speak.
I
Yeah, we're we're pumped to have you. I just love seeing your book behind you in like billboard
And
form.
this is like so extra. I printed it out. I never used it. I never took it anywhere. It just became the background of my Zoom calls. And now I'm like, why did I spend the money? But there's so many debut things that I've done that are so cringe.
say
I
embrace the cringe, baby. Getting published is hard. And I say put your book on everything you can. I love it. I thought it was like
I've
just a
put it on
giant.
pretty much everything.
Yeah. Why not? It's hard enough, you know? Might as well. I have my face on
Tell
a
everyone.
mug just from the podcast, you know?
Yeah, it's
You
so
know,
true though. It's hard.
Yeah.
Why not? Why
so
not celebrate it? Stick it everywhere.
right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just when I think about the money that I spent, it's like, did I actually use any of this stuff? Like, I don't know. I'm like, next time I'm just gonna stop doing all that stuff because it's just so much effort.
Yeah, no, I hear you honestly, because like I'm in my second book era right
Yes.
now, and
Is
there,
it different?
it is. It really feels so much different because you know what to expect,
Yes.
and you know what things did work, what things didn't
Yes.
work. I still forked out money for like character art because
Yes.
why not? Again, like
Yeah.
we did the thing. Why not
Yes.
have some fun art?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do all the billboards you want.
I think next time I'll do the things that like I want to do versus what I think the audience wants, if that makes sense. Because I feel
Mm,
like, I did do so many like different like things on Instagram and I burned out. I burned
Mm,
out so bad. And I realized like, okay, this may not be a healthy way to promote, especially when there are multiple books back to back. So maybe that's
yes.
kind of where I'm like looking at, like you said, like what does work, what does seem to sell versus what kind of seems to just be a lot of work.
Right.
yeah.
No, and the burnout is real. And I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
truly, and it's interesting, I found because I truly thought after the book was out that I was done. Like
Yes.
I thought, oh, as soon
Me
as I get to
too.
that
I
date,
was like,
I'm
I'll
done.
push myself and then like I'll reap the benefits, but it hasn't stopped.
It does not stop. And so yeah, it's pacing yourself because
Yes.
like it doesn't stop. And so the only way to make it stop is like to take a break and to
Yes.
rest and to do the things that you need to do because truly it does not end.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm. I feel like
Absolutely.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I feel like when you're like doing that much energy and that much effort and all this stuff, I think like people make the mistake of thinking, wow, look at her go. She's got all the energy in the
Yes.
world. She can do more. But a lot of times we're giving like 110% already at that point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm realizing. So when someone expects more on top of that, or we were maybe already, that 10% needs to go because it was too much for us. So I think
Yeah.
that's really wise advice, actually, to just like do what feels fun. Like it has to feel fun for you, right? You've got to love
Yes.
that billboard because you're stuck with it now, you know?
That's true.
As long as
Honestly
you love
though,
it,
I want
I do
one.
love it.
it's a
Yeah.
pretty
I,
lit.
It's nice
my
anytime you
kids
do
like use it
something.
as a photo booth at this point. They're like, hi.
That's so cute. I
At
love
least
it.
they're like proud of it.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Thank
Well, okay, well, let's get
you.
into the questions because I feel like we could just go off.
I know.
But I want to know, like, well, first, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Shifa Saltagi Safadi, and I'm the author of KAREEM Between. And so this is my debut middle grade novel, and it's my actual debut in the traditional industry as a whole, because I do have three picture books, but they were published by a more of an indie press, so not one that's considered part of the traditional industry. So it's like my very first foray into like trade reviews and Goodreads and like bookstores and stuff like that. So it's a middle grade novel in verse, And it's about a young boy named KAREEM who really wants to make his middle school football team, but he fumbles tryouts, and then he gets kind of approached by the coach's son at the school, like to like help him out or not, and make some, you know, tricky choices. And this is all set during the background of 2016, which President Trump was elected, you know, to be president at the time. And so, you know, it's kind of in the background of this story, but it really comes to the forefront when KAREEM's mother travels to Syria to bring her parents back, and she gets stuck there because of the Muslim ban. So this becomes kind of the like whole like part of the plot where he has to like, you know, in the first place, you know, there's a Syrian refugee kid and he's Syrian himself. So he's been kind of like holding back from his identity, feeling between these two worlds of Syrian and American. And he has to like fully, you know, choose his whole identity because, you know, he's thrust into politics, he's thrust into all of this, and he realizes that he won't achieve victory in any part of his life unless he embraces everything who he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And like I've just been seeing this book everywhere.
Thank
And
you.
like the accolades that you've been receiving, honestly, it's
Thank
so
you.
awesome. And I want to ask, like, we'll go back into like our fun questions, but I wanted to ask about this story in particular, like what made you want to write this story in particular?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean like the Muslim ban like was such like a jarring time. Like I still remember even like honestly Trump winning the presidency. Like I remember me and my husband were staying up and we were watching, and like I remember watching TV and everybody was like it was not expected. Like everybody was like no, 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 Hillary Clinton is going to win, and we were just watching and watching, and then I fell asleep at some point and it was like starting to look depressing. And then I fell asleep. And then I literally woke up in the middle of the night and my husband's still watching TV. And I'm like, who won? And he's like, Trump won. I'm like, oh my, like I couldn't fall back asleep. Like I got up out of bed and I just remember being so scared because like even before he won, even before the Muslim ban, he had been using, I mean, very similar to now, dehumanizing rhetoric, dehumanizing immigrants, dehumanizing any people of color, dehumanizing, you know, Latinx people and people at the border, Arabs, Muslims, like, you know, Black people, so many marginalized groups. And so it was really scary, you know, and it's like, okay, what's going to happen like now, you know? So like I wanted to address this part of history because I haven't read a book about the Muslim ban at all. And then also like, you know, I felt like it wasn't done because, you know, as we see now, and, you know, it's crazy because even when I wrote the book, I wasn't thinking that, okay, we're actually going to deal with this a third time. Like, it was like, you know, like it felt like they call it sort of historical fiction, but it's very much the present because, you know, it does like when I was writing the book, I felt like this is something that isn't like you put it away and leave it behind, you know, it's like dehumanization rhetoric, it's a tale as old as time, and we see it with different groups, and I grew up with it, you know, during 9/11. And so like now, you know, and then now we see it a lot with Palestine, you know, seeing how Palestinians are like talked about as if they're not human, and so you know, to justify a genocide against them. So it's like I really just wanted to address like how language matters, how dehumanizing rhetoric matters, and then also how we can stand together and change it. Because at the end of the day, the Muslim ban, when it did happen, like what I do remember is that people stood up and so many people protested, and courts immediately started shooting it down, and lawyers were working pro bono around the clock. And I remember like feeling at that time, like, we can do this. Like, you know, even if he's president, like he can't like stop democracy, right? And I want to hold on to that. I want to hold on to that hope because I think we still have to hold on to it now, you know, and forever. Like we have to keep fighting for our rights. We have to keep fighting for justice. And that's sort of like the inspiration behind the political aspect of the book. And then obviously the football and the Muslim parts. And I just really wanted to write a book about football as well. Like I feel like, you know, like the one sentence pitch for this book is like a kid who wants to make the football team, because I feel like that is for KAREEM, that's all he cares about. Like he's just like, that's his goal. You know, he's a middle school kid. He just wants the football team, but he's forced into this reality because for so many marginalized people, they don't choose to be in politics. They're a part of it, right? And so that's kind of where like this, like kind of like it was like a combination story, because for so many kids it is a combination story. It's not just about an issue or something, it's a part of their life. So, you know, it took a while, but I tried to weave the narrative, and it seems like a lot of people like are getting it. So that's really awesome to see.
That's beautiful and powerful.
Thank
And I
you.
really love what you were saying, that you can be both of these things. And most
Yes,
marginalized kids are
they
both of these
are.
things. They're experiencing the hardships of life and seeing their own family deal with things, while also still they're just kids and they just want to be
Yes,
on the team. And
yes,
it's a beautiful thing to like showcase in a story. And I'm
yes.
sure so many kids feel so seen when they read it.
I
And
hope so.
gosh, it's interesting because, like you said, this is based off 2016, and here
Yes,
we are. It's as prevalent today as it would have been then. So
yes,
again, we need this story now more than ever.
absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for writing it,
Thank
honestly.
you. Thank you.
How does it feel to get the accolades that you have,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
with this book?
Like I like the National Book Award long list came out the day of debut. I remember just like I was posting about my book, and then I got tagged by the National Book Foundation, and I'm like, what is this a mistake? Why is the National Book Foundation tagging me? And I clicked it and I just dropped to the floor because I did not expect it at all. And to have even made the short list, like it's a dream come true. I feel like, and it's my baby book, you know, and my first book. So it feels like utterly shocking, honestly. Like it feel like my first time, like, and like I'm still not used to the idea that my words are out there. You know, you work so long and then you're like, these are words that came from my brain, like, and people are reading them. But like to see the great perception and you know the stars and the reviews and stuff has been utterly incredible. I mean, it's beyond what I even could have expected. I'm so, so grateful and so happy that it does seem to have done what I wanted it to do. And so many people are getting it, which like I just wanted, and I'm so grateful that it's actually, you know, hitting where I wanted it to.
Thank you so much for sharing that all with. It's honestly like so powerful, and I'm so like honored to have you on here to talk about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to bring it back a little bit to get a little to know a little bit more about you, as it's going to seem completely contrasting, but I really want to know, what is the strangest thing you own?
Okay, so what is strange? Because like I'm an author, so we own a lot of strange
Yes,
stuff.
True.
Like,
facts.
so I was like, you guys sent me these questions. I was thinking, like, what can I, like, I don't know, like everything is strange. Like I own a lamp for seasonal depression that I have by my computer. And the reason I do it is because I spend so much time indoors at the computer that I need that light, if or else I'll get depressed in the winter.
Yeah.
And I also own like blue light glasses because like I'm staring at a screen. I don't know. I mean, these are probably strange to the average non-authoring person,
Mhm.
but they're
Yeah.
my pride and joy. Like I use these things like all the time and they work.
That's
Oh my
clever though.
gosh,
The
yeah.
light one.
Oh
I
my
want to know
gosh.
more about this because
Same.
And
we could probably all use it.
it's so good. Like every winter, I feel like I just get down and
Mm,
I'm a winter person because I really like the longer nights and but I also feel down. So like I got this lamp off like on honestly Amazon. It was like 20 bucks or something and it said I just put seasonal SAD or something
yeah.
depression and lamp and like it's awesome. Like it supposedly helps with like the brain and like,
Wow.
you know, so I mean, it's worked so far. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But I
Yeah.
mean, we're not at winter yet. I just got it this fall, but it seems to be helping.
That's
Let's
a
hope it
good tip.
continues working.
Yes, because I definitely get sads as well over winter. And it would be great if there's like an actual light that I just like have to be really conscious to get out in the sun. But
Yes,
I guess it
yes.
mimics that. So amazing. I'm gonna look it up.
Because like I developed allergies and I'm like, now I used to walk outside in the morning and then my allergies started getting really bad. And I'm like, you know what? I'm an indoors person. I don't do the outdoors at all. And then I'm like, I just need to bring the sun inside somehow. And
I
so this
love
seems to
that.
be seems to be working.
Hey, that's handy. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
probably will purchase this myself as soon as we get off of here. I love that. That's
It's
amazing.
strange, but it's like so useful. It's like a sign of aging, sadly, I think. I don't know.
It's like these things make us excited now. Like,
yes, I know, like hydration and lamps. Like,
yeah, it's good. It's good for us.
it's good.
We're thinking about these things. Well, speaking of thinking, what is something you think about way too often?
Oh my gosh. Other than writing, like, oh my gosh. Like I can't, I 99% of my brain space is my plots and my books that I'm reading. Um, I don't know,
Same.
like the chocolate when I can get it next, like to power myself through. Like, really, I'm so boring. I'm like utterly like obsessed with writing and reading and like my kids, obviously, but like that's more of like survival mode, I think,
Yeah.
than
I mean,
they're
Same.
still very young.
chocolate's a solid answer. I'll take
Chocolate,
that.
right? And coffee. Chocolate. And I'm thinking about my coffee in the morning most of the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's relatable 100%. Like I suffer with this all the time about not having a hobby. And it's something I've given up on. I don't need it because truly like
Like writing takes up your
it
life.
does. And
Like
if I'm
ever
not
since I
writing, I'm
started
reading.
writing, yes, you're either reading to get inspiration or writing your current draft or plotting your next draft. It's like a cycle. I can't get off of it, it seems.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or I'm watching a movie and then my brain's like, "Oh, I love what they did here." I'm like,
I taught
it's
my
just
kids
where we
to
are
do
right
that
now.
too. We were like watching what were the Wild Robot, I think. I took my kids
Oh.
to watch it and we were sitting there and my son was like, this was the climax and this was the rising action. I'm like, I did well here. Like I did.
I've
The
broken
kids
my
recognize the
husband
plot.
like that too. He's like, oh no, he's like Dark Night of the Soul coming in.
Coming in
All is
hot.
lost moment. All is lost right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think in this season, it's fine. Let's just accept
Yes,
this. We are here. We are in this writing mindset. And things will
absolutely.
shift, maybe. But for now, it's like we're busy
Yeah.
writing books.
Yep.
It's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay, Angela. It's okay.
You're
Even
Yeah.
if
all
it feels
right.
unhealthy at times.
Yeah.
Mm.
And for those times, we have chocolate and we have
Yes,
coffee.
exactly.
We're
Exactly.
good. We're good.
Yep.
I want to know a little bit about your writing journey because you mentioned that you had
Yes.
published before. So can you tell us, like, take
Yes.
us back to when you started and also
Absolutely.
why you wanted to become a writer?
Yeah, so like I definitely wanted to become a writer since I was a kid. I've told this story a little bit before on other podcasts and like stuff and articles, but it's just really like my moment that I can pinpoint and I'm like, this is it. This is the moment that I was like, I want to be a writer when I grow up. And it was really after 9/11, honestly. I was 10 years old and I remember I had worn the hijab for the first time. And so we lived in a small town in Ohio, and me and my mom were about, and we faced somebody who, started throwing slurs at us and telling us, go back to your own country, and like all this Islamophobic stuff. And it was my first time like that I had faced that kind of vitriol. And like I remember like even like, seeing the images on TV of the towers and like trying to like grapple with, okay, like people are relating me to that. Like it was
Mhm.
really, really difficult. But I remember at the time, like it was a really small town, and the mayor heard about it and he heard about what had happened to me. And so he reached out to my family and he reached out to our local mosque. And we had an interfaith gathering where he was there. And they asked me beforehand, they were like, do you want to write something about your emotions and your feelings about this experience that you had? And so my dad encouraged me to write a poem. And so I actually remember sitting down and I wrote a poem and it was all rhymey and very, very cheesy, not something I would ever publish now. But it was like really like at that moment, like I was really excited because I put my feelings into words. And I went to the interfaith gathering and read it in front of the mayor. And I remember like there was like that like everyone was clapping and the mayor was like, wow, this is incredible. You should become a writer someday. Like this is
Wow.
awesome. Your words really mattered. And I remember thinking to myself, like, yes, that is what I want to do. I want to use my words and I want to write books someday and poetry. And I loved reading and I would read all the time. But I think like growing up, like I didn't see Muslim characters. I really didn't in books. So, you know, I wanted to be a writer, but at the same time, some part of me didn't feel like I could, I guess.
Hmm.
So I grew up and, you know, got an English literature degree, became a mom, like was a teacher and like just, you know, got busy with life. And then I started remembering my dream when I actually started seeing Muslim books. So my kids were getting older and I wanted them to see themselves represented. And so I started shopping online. I started seeing the newer Muslim books that were coming out by Muslim authors. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I remember getting YA for myself as well. And I was just floored, like to see myself represented for the first time. I didn't realize how much I was missing it until I actually experienced it. And so like, I remember thinking like, this is my dream. This is what I wanted to do. Like, I really want to do this. Like, I want to, you know, try and actually, you know, revive that dream. So I started like tinkering around with the computer and like writing some drafts and stuff. But, you know, obviously like getting an English degree and writing, creative writing are very different things, very different things. Like I remember submitting to some publishers and agents and getting rightfully, to be honest, like not represented. They were very, very not well written stories at the time, but I really wanted to do it. So I started like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start researching. So I got on Instagram. I also started sharing the Muslim books. So I started reviewing them. And I was telling my sister, like, oh my gosh, there's all these Muslim books that are coming out. And she's like, she had no idea. And all my friends had no idea. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start sharing them. And that kind of was like, it was so funny because it happened at the same time that I was writing. Because every time I would discover a book, I would share it. And somehow those journeys like are definitely connected. And at the same time, they were never like I never like set out saying, okay, I'm going to make an author page. It was always a reviewer page, but it somehow was like, I feel like every writer starts off as a reader.
Yeah.
And so like the more I reviewed, the more I connected with other authors, got advice, took writing courses, and then, you know, I started, you know, developing my skills as a writer. And so there was an indie Muslim publisher and I submitted a few of my stories and I was able to, you know, get published that way. And so those were my very first picture books and it was just incredible, you know, and it just made me want to do more and more. But, you know, the audience for indie publishing is very small. So I wanted to, especially for Kidlit, I think for like YA and Book Talk, I think they have a bigger audience, but for kids, you kind of need to reach schools and libraries. So, you know, I started
Okay. Makes
thinking like,
sense. Yeah.
you know, and so I really wanted to kind of like, you know, my main goal has always been to reach kids because I feel like if you can teach kids like tolerance and respecting each other, like it just helps the future, you know, so quick, I think, like because it's like just forming like, you know, just forming like those positive representation before racism can even have a chance to, you know, rear its head. So that's why I really, really wanted to like get into schools and libraries. And honestly, most of the time it is trad books that make it there. So I started searching for an agent again. And this time I was like, okay, I'm going to take all the courses and I still really love courses and writing workshops. So my writing did develop and I got an agent in 2022. And then I also got a mentorship with a program called The Word for Diversity. And they're like, they're really awesome. They're like exclusively for BIPOCs and they're very like supportive of diverse stories. And so I connected with my editor through that. And we worked on a chapter book series that's coming out next year. But, you know, I had always been working on this middle grade novel in verse, KAREEM, at the same time. And so I was like, would you want to like see my novel in verse on sub? And she was like, yes, absolutely. And so it ended up being my debut book, even though I wasn't agented based on it or like, you know, like the workshop wasn't on it, but it just somehow, you know, was the first book to come out. So that's kind of like, it's a very like curvy journey, but just, you know, all the pieces kind of fell into place.
That's so cool. And you were, I mean, slowly putting those pieces into place
Yes,
yourself by like finding community
absolutely.
and doing mentorships. Is that mentorship still going on now?
Yes. Yes. So the Word for
Amazing.
Diversity is amazing. They're on Instagram, and every year they open it up. I think they just started this year's they just announced this year's mentees, and they're wonderful. Every year they get a new group of editors and from the industry to like mentor writers, and
Wow.
they, you know, really focus on kind of uplifting, and you basically learn like the whole process of editing. So you get developmental edits, you get to have a Zoom call with an editor, which are so useful because like for me, I was like, where do I, like, it's like swimming in water, kind of like it is hard to find your footing at first. So
Yeah.
it was so useful because it taught me the developmental edit process. And therefore, when I revised my middle grade, I really was able to use those tools and really figure out how to like, you know, revise a manuscript and how to receive an edit letter and such.
I appreciate you sharing that because it feels like a lot of those mentorships have died. It's so great to hear
Yes,
of a new one that I never heard of. So listeners, listen in.
absolutely.
Yeah, was there
It's
something
so
that
wonderful.
surprised you about the publishing industry through all of this?
Oh my gosh. What hasn't surprised me? Oh
Ah!
my gosh. I don't know, man. It's like it's everything about it is so surprising. Maybe I'm still a baby author, so I feel like now I'm starting to feel like, okay, like there's something called past pages. Like how many times do I have to reread my own work? And then like I feel like I think Angela, you posted once on TikTok about the past pages. Like I was like, do people see what I'm writing on the other end? Like, oh my God, this is scary.
Yes.
Like it is so hard to like figure out, okay, how do I save this document? How do I send it back? Like I
Oh my
swear,
God.
like I am like actually technology proficient, but when it comes to the industry, I feel so out of the loop.
Thank you for saying that because
Mm.
that is like my most self-conscious moment as a writer is getting those damn past pages because
Yes.
every single time I'm like, is this going to save? And sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know how I
Oh
do
my
it. And
gosh.
yeah.
And I'm like, I apologize. I'm like, this should have saved, but when I opened the document again, they disappeared. And then I realized like, and then I'm doing the past pages for my chapter books now. And then I realized there's like this toolbar that shows up that actually shows the thing and they disappear from the document, but they show up on the side still. So I had like 10 different comments repeating the same thing. And
Oh,
I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
that's probably me too then. I feel seen.
Like, why don't they give us a handbook or something? Like, it's
Oh,
so hard. Like I
Mm.
like you get like the craft part down, and then there's something called copy edits where like I'm like, can I like write in the document or like can I do I
mm,
like pass pages and then I don't know, it's just so confusing. Like I feel like every time I feel like, okay, I got this, and then I'm thrown for a loop again.
yeah, yeah. Oh, man, thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
this.
That was a
I feel
healing
released.
answer.
Horrible.
It was. I feel released from all of this burden of like feeling self-conscious.
I bet you other authors feel this way. Like, but I feel like I wish like people talked about it more because I'll WhatsApp my friends and I'm like, is this normal? Is it normal to hate your own book by past pages time to want to chuck it out a window? They're like, that's totally normal. That's part of the process. I'm like, okay, good to know. Like the shock at the first good review. I'm like, wait, people like this? Like apparently that's normal too.
All
Like,
of it, the whole
where do
gambit, right? I know. I was just talking to a friend because she dared to look at her Goodreads and she was like, I feel like my world has just ended. And I was like, oh no, that's normal. Like, just don't go back, but it's
the
normal.
first like 4-star review is like devastating. And then
Yeah.
you get to like 100 and you're like, oh, whatever. 4 star is good. Whatever. Like it's like a 5 basically.
Yeah. 100%. I'm like, hey,
A
four?
3. I'm like, wow, that's thank you for your honesty. And then I'm like, well, I
100%.
shouldn't be looking at the Goodreads space. It's not my space, but it's an addiction. I don't know. I should probably not look.
I'm glad you
No,
also are admitting that because same. I've been there.
no good can come from it. And you know what? There's just some reviewers, they are just particularly gifted at just like, even if you think you're like, know your shit, but like that you're okay with it. But some people are just gifted at taking you down, you know? They just poke at this one thing and you're like, well,
And then
maybe they're
there's
right.
also those 3-star reviews that you're just like, oh my gosh. Like they'll be like, I really did not want to like this book and the character and football, ew. but like something about the character won me over in the end. I'm like, wow, like that was actually nice. Like sometimes I'll be shocked. Like I'll be, well, like they did say something nice, right? Or like, how am I supposed to feel about this?
Yeah, you're like, thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like you liked it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I see our time is starting to dwindle down, but I want to make sure to ask like our very favorite question because I really want to know what you have to say, which is
Mm.
looking back at all you've accomplished, which is a lot. What
Thank you.
advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you started this journey?
Um, I feel like don't rush the process. And I know like that's like it's so hard to say even now, like because now I'm drafting a new thing and I'm like, when am I gonna finish this draft? It's so like I just want to get to the end. But
Mm.
like it really is like I feel like taking I always end up like having the most beneficial writing sessions and the most productive writing sessions and the best ones too that like my best writing when I take breaks. And so, I just want to tell myself like you'll get there. You'll get your agent, you'll get your book deal, you'll get an editor who supports your work and to just have more confidence, less impatience and just take in the moment and kind of like take a breather because I feel like even until now, like I'm like, taking this moment and trying to like live every moment of it because it's like, it flies by and then you're on to your next book and your next past pages and and I want to like feel like sometimes I want it to just stop so I can just like appreciate like it actually happened, this dream of mine that's like so long like I was like not believing that it was going to happen. It did and I just want like my old self to just kind of you'll get there, calm down, you'll get there, don't feel worried, and future writers as well and like other people who are like seeking this industry like you'll get there. Like it will happen. Just, take your time, work on your craft. It'll happen.
I love that so much. And I think it's true. Like if you just keep putting in something's going to happen.
Yes.
Good things will eventually
Absolutely.
come.
I'm trying to tell that to myself as well about like the sales track, right? Because that's such a
Yeah.
big thing too. And I'm like, you know what? Like as well, that will happen with like I've heard like backlists, like grows with front lists and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
being a debut, it takes time. So I feel like kind of like expecting it to take time. It helps because like I think a lot of people expect like books to like splash in, but that's not the case, I think, for most books.
Yeah. I
That's
think
good.
you're right. It takes time for it to build that momentum. And I think this is only going to keep growing. Since we've got a little bit of time left, I want to ask, is there something you wish your readers knew before reading your book?
Um, Honestly, just open that first page and just go into it without any expectations. I like my favorite moments are when I open a book and just start and just get sucked into the world. So just, I think reading is also a personal experience. And once you write a book and let it out there, it becomes the readers. And I feel like everyone, whoever like reads the book will have their own interpretation, their own feelings, their own kind of like messaging to take away from the book. So, you know, I want readers to have that space to experience it fully for themselves.
Mm,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's something I think we can all remind ourselves as writers. It's like once it's out of us and into the world, it belongs to whoever has that book in their hand. And they're going to
Absolutely.
read it and interpret it however it feels in their own bodies. So I love that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for joining us and for being amazing. And like the time flew because we just were enjoying listening
Absolutely.
to you
No, I love
chat.
talking to you guys. You guys are incredible. Thank you
Thank
for
you're
you.
having me.
incredible. Thank you for sharing all your story. I could have listened to you all day. I was
Yeah, I
I
know.
can talk
transported.
all day. Like I have to stop myself because I can go on.
And
I
we love that.
we
We
love
love that.
it.
Yeah. Well, again,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for joining us. You are amazing. I
Thank you
cannot
so
wait
much.
for
Thank you.
everybody to read this
Likewise.
book. Yeah, you're the best.
Thank you so
Seriously.
much.
Thank
Thank you. Take
you.
care.